Hello again. So we're here to talk about the untapped brand opportunity for programmatic video and how video can actually help brands build equity. So before we kick off, let's have brief introductions from each of you, please. Start with you, Christian.
So I'm Christian Guino, I'm the SVP of TEED's APAC.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Abhishek Grover, Business Director for Global Client Solutions at Wavemaker. Wavemaker, as you most of you know, that it's a Group M agency formed last year from the merger of Maxis MEC.
Hi, I'm Shanter from Inity. I'm the Regional Strategy Director. So Inity is a jack of all trades to a certain extent. We do a lot of high impact, we do in programmatic, we do a bit in content. Yeah, we have partnerships with Yahoo as well, so yeah.
Thank you. So Inity and TEEDS, you're kind of coming at this from a similar angle in terms of what the opportunity is for brands and how we can make the most of what is there is to offer in video. So Abhishek, I want to kick off with you and find out kind of what brands want from video, what brands are looking for from video. I know you work on a couple of CPG brands, so I guess their desires differ from maybe other verticals that are perhaps more performance-led, but kind of, yeah, what is it they're looking for?
I think one of the most important things for big CPG brands in this region is that they follow a simple principle of maximizing reach. It's a tried and tested formula that if they can reach at 1+ these many consumers, they'll be able to get the business outcomes. And that has been working since the golden age. So for them, the video is a very good opportunity to explore in different formats, not just as TVC. They realize that TVC is not going to work on digital platform. So they know that different formats are required. They acknowledge that. I feel that the platforms have to play a bigger role in educating them on how to use them in the right decision points, because in a consumer purchase journey, if you look at, there are different points where there is leakage and the brand needs to identify and the platform needs to come back that you should use a particular format for that. And I think that's something which collaboration between the partners, agencies, and of course brands is working well now in this region.
So are you still receiving 15 or 30-second TVCs from your clients when you're trying to run a video campaign with them?
From this year onwards, from my clients, I think we've stopped it.
Amazing. Congratulations. You're probably the first person I've spoken to say that. So that's massive progress. So if that's what they're looking for, and I'm assuming as well, are there barriers to entry for brands that want to invest in video? Are there concerns for them and think like transparency, like fraud? What are the blockers for them?
It started off with the transparency issue. I mean, in 2016 and 17, the whole issue was around transparency and ad fraud. And I think the industry has addressed this issue pretty well. If you look at like most of these big clients, CPG clients, they have partnered with tech companies of IAS, Mort, and they have now realized that the importance of using them to utilize the full potential of video. So I think brands are doing that in this region now.
Excellent. So moving over to team supply side, from a publisher perspective, what is it publishers can do to ensure that brands, have what they actually want if they want to invest in programmatic video? Let's start with you. Come on, Sean.
Thank you. So I think from publishers' perspective, I think Thailand today mentioned as well. OPA is a great coming together of premium publishers, ganging up together, forming consortiums to increase their reach. Giving a third option compared to duopoly for brands to actually access it. I mean, we're working with IAS and your modes as well to provide that third-party verification and authentication to whether a view is actually a view. In Malaysia as well, we have MPPM, Malaysian Premium Publisher Marketplace, and in Singapore as well, and Indonesia as well. I think there are going to be more and more of these PMPs that will come into place where publisher consortiums that are there to protect the interests of publishers, but yet at the same time acknowledging the challenges that advertisers are looking for. I mean, at the end of the day, what they're looking for is a brand-safe environment, transparency, and high impact formats to maybe create that impact. Rather than just vanity metrics that we talked a lot about, just views and clicks. What about the impact and the recall of it? Obviously, having something that is slightly different, unique, will create a better lasting memory in the mind of consumers. Isn't that what we're all after at the end of the day?
Yeah, we'll get onto metrics later. I want to kind of touch back on the cropping up of consortiums and co-ops that are existing in the sort of Southeast Asian markets at the moment. It's fascinating for me as a European to see because we've there's been quite a few of them in European markets for a while. Quite frankly, they've been a bit of a shit show. And we've just had a new one launched in the UK, the Ozone Project, so I've got high hopes that it will do better than Pangea did. But it is interesting because actually the guy from Kim from BBC Terror talked about it earlier from Thailand for OPA, that it's the coming together of frenemies, and it's these, these big. I mean, I don't know if in Europe there's maybe too much ego going on, and maybe there's less ego over here, so they could make a go of it. But is that going to be a challenge? Do you see this as the way to kind of encourage brands to go premium and not just rely on the YouTubes and Facebooks of the world?
I really do agree. So look, I mean, with everything that we do, there's going to be challenges. We got like 9 publishers in MPPM right now. Getting them together and to sit in one table was a big challenge. The next thing is looking at the site layout. I mean, every site has different layouts. In Malaysia, we have 3 different languages, and mobile. Are they mobile friendly? Are they mobile responsive? What kind of ad formats can we get into it? It takes time, and it's about, once again, commitment and consistency. You can't expect a perfect product in the timeline of 3 months. 3 months since we launched. It's not going to happen, Right now, we are pushing as hard as we can. We're getting essential formats that you can buy and programmatic on there. So your in-read video is going to be there. Standard banners are going to be there. Billboard, which is programmatic friendly as well, is going to be there. And all these are video enabled. But your next step then is to create really lasting, impactful formats on these big publishers that are available. I think that's going to be the next step. And my word to brands and agencies and people who are interested in advertising and protecting these premium publishers, they do have a market for creating great content that's applicable to everyone. I mean, Malaysia-wise, we just had our general elections. It was huge, and we saw traffic spike by up to 50% on all these publishers. And it's a great opportunity for brands to tap into, high influx of traffics. World Cup season as well now. Where else are you going to eat into your reading on your football content?
Yeah, and I guess the point is, it's the video is the holy grail of sight, sound, and motion, right? So there should be so much opportunity for brands to tap into from that perspective. Christian, I want to come to you, just kind of talking about the PMP. Is from a brand perspective and from a publisher perspective as well, I guess from a yield point of view, is premium, the PMP, the way forward, the way to go when it comes to programmatic video?
I guess a few things about the branding and programmatic. First, video, and it's linked to also a move we have seen the last 15 years about shifting dominate from linear TV to the big platform like YouTube and Facebook, and now being a bit on the end of the journey because this big platform doesn't deliver brand equity, brand consideration, which was on the upper funnel of the communication. So I think 2 things here. First, video is clearly, whatever it is in linear TV or in all different channels, I think it will still be the key or the king or the queen in terms of building the brand and building the relationship with the clients. Whether it is a more sophisticated video, interactive video, a TCO video, whatever, but clearly on the upper funnel, that rich message needs to be there. Then, in fact, after we talk about the medium, so yeah, we have seen this shift from linear TV to Facebook, YouTube, which were unable to say, oh, linear TV is decreasing. So now I'm still building reach on lower segment, more interesting people. I have data, I have analytics. When you look at the performance and the engagement, it's very poor now. We were mentioning this morning, 2 or 3 seconds after that, people are skipping. And when you see when now the premium inventory boosted by programmatic and leveraged by the capabilities of programmatic is capable to deliver a very strong, engaging message back to this upper funnel using video or sophisticated video into premium content, then you have the full reason and the full positioning of where premium publishers need to position themselves and how they can leverage the programmatic and data and what kind of creative they can do that. Just to give you an example, recently we have a video, interactive video with Tommy Hilfiger. Okay? So the video was 20 seconds, but it was embedded into a more sophisticated message with a conversational creative, where we can start discussing with directly on your mobile with advertising. And the average dwell time on that average was 2 minutes 30 seconds, just for one 20-second creative. So when you compare the value of that engagement of 2 minutes based on a video relationship and a 2 or 3 seconds based on a video, but in an environment where people just are not interested by that, then you measure the value of the premiumness and the value of the programmatic on this upper funnel.
Abhishek.
I think just want to add on to his point that from a brand side, you need control now, right? And the control comes from PMPs, whether you call it premium marketplace or private marketplace. But it's the combination of the human approach and the machine approach, which I think now marketers feel much more confident in dealing with. Because before, they weren't really aware of the stuff that was going on digital platforms. But with PMPs in place, one, they're able to diversify their investments beyond Google and Facebook, especially in this region where we know the reach is really important from these two platforms. So private marketplace is really offering that kind of a step towards having more control for advertisers. And even for agency side, we are building much more better relationships with partners.
That's interesting to hear. And then, so from their perspective, from the brands that you work with, what are they looking for from video? Are they looking just for brand awareness? Are they measuring on a CPM or a CPV? Or, I mean, you mentioned earlier about them trying to tie it back to business metrics. Is that actually realistic?
Some brands can do. It again depends on the kind of brand, the kind of objective that you are going for a particular campaign. And of course, the amount of money that you're investing in that campaign. I mean, for a small budget, it doesn't make sense to go for all kind of business metrics. But I think for a bigger campaign that you can actually go for business metrics is something which is essential for understanding that how am I driving the upper funnel metrics, especially for CPG category, where I want to know that what is the engagement level, what is the emotion that I'm driving with the consumers, with my creative. Recently, we tested something in Indonesia where we saw something really drastically different. We placed one brand content of over 3 minutes and one a normal 6 second. The brand metrics actually went high, like the brand equity went high for a video which was over 3 minutes, which is quite interesting to know, because a market like Indonesia, where we always talk about that go with shorter formats, the longer format really worked there, and we saw greater results. So I think video has to be looked at from different angles, has to be looked at where consumer is kept at the center, and plus what kind of content you are building to marry that brand and consumer relationship.
Christian and Sean, I'm interested on both of your perspectives on kind of the format, because obviously, you hear a lot about 6 seconds being the kind of key length to maximize consumer engagement. Abhishek saying something slightly different. Obviously, it is vertical dependent. Christian, what do you think about this?
Well, I think the key is to create a relationship and engagement with the consumer. So people can be bored after 3 or 4 seconds. They could have been engaged during 2 minutes, as we have seen. So I would say that the future of engaging advertising is and because of the capabilities given by programmatic and data, is to address more and more something and to talk more and more, establish a discussion with the consumer. It's not so much about putting format in boxes, say, oh, beyond 5 seconds doesn't work. No, depends first of what you have to say. But then if you want to engage with the consumer, it's about building a relationship. And I think what we have seen recently with the growth of the PMP, I mean, that's really tremendously. When I started this business and this region 18 months ago, when I arrived, PMP on programmatic was less than 20% at TEEDS. Now it's more than 60% of our business. And out of 60, it's 10 open exchange, it's 50 PMP. So PMP in 18 months took half of my business in a very, very fast. And then it belongs in PMP to set up some different KPI. So we are not talking about GLP or just an impression for many years. But what really interesting is to see the future measurement, because now we are introducing augmented reality. We're introducing discussion. So what will be? I mean, what will be the next measurement in terms of engagement rating, conversion rating, trial rating. So all this, talking about the future, it's not just a question of format, it's more a question of how to leverage the data, the programmatic, the technology, using and taking the benefits of the high engagement due to the professional user content, generated content, and the premium publisher, to establish here a discussion with the consumer. Either it is a 5 second, 10 seconds, or a full story.
Sean, what are your thoughts on kind of the different format variations of video?
I strongly agree with Abhishek. I mean, aside from just your 15, 30 seconds video, it's just, content that was created for TV being pushed onto digital doesn't work that way. It just doesn't, I mean, people on digital are looking for different things. I mean, a 15, 30-second commercial is, okay, it's time for me to go get my water boiled to have some tea or some Milo or whatever. That's normally the case with TV. With digital, you need to create content customized for digital. The user base is different. I mean, the whole hype of Instagram and YouTube is because the content is created just for digital. And Instagram is coming up, Instagram TV. And I find a lot of brands are right now investing in creation of content with influencers as well. But a lot of them just stick to their social platforms. They pay for a post that's being posted on Instagram, and that's it. I reach X amount of people, X amount of views. Why not take this content and plug it onto Programmatic? All right, why not take this content and get a wider reach, to fans or possible fans of these influencers that create content related to interest. I mean, that's where the data comes into play, doesn't it? And there's a lot of other things as well, and with formats as well. I mean, let's say, for example, World Cup right now. Okay, you can create content. Let's say, a beer guy. Okay, they're creating custom cans. That's an appeal. I mean, if you have the overall marketing plan and overall strategy involved, then programmatic video makes perfect sense. It's to reach out to your incremental reach that maybe perhaps don't watch TV, right? I mean, for example, just now we had a discussion about the various ways that you can watch content online right now, right? You got IPTVs, you got OTTs, you can stream maybe illegally. I didn't say that out loud, but yeah.
No, you didn't.
There's just various ways to do it right now. I mean, the market is still ripe for linear TV, or whoever makes great content is going to win this. All right. I mean, programmatic is a way to reach out to these audiences, and brands need to acknowledge what content that is made to reach out to their audiences to create that engagement and create that impact. Formats facilitate this. Instead of just pushing out 6 seconds, 15 seconds, 30 seconds, it's just a number, right? It's what else you put together with it that matters more.
Yeah, and I do want to get onto the creative conversation as well as the metrics conversation. We'll get there. But Abhishek, I'm interested in your perspective because everything Sean talks about there in terms of, the brands will pay a certain amount of money to push a post on Instagram or on social media, and they don't then take that same content and then use it in programmatic video. Is that not a legacy issue with a lot of particularly the big brands, where you have the brand managers doing one thing, which is literally just kind of, I want to get as many Instagram likes as I possibly can, and then the digital marketing team that are working to completely different metrics, and then never the two shall meet in the middle? Absolutely.
I mean, most of the marketers on a brand side, even at the agency side, I can be very honest that we're operating in silos. And that's the reason of causing this huge gap between what your strategy is, but that strategy doesn't land to the execution side. We've seen mostly like the programmatic managers are very good with technology, but they need some guidance from a brand side on what are the kind of strategic implications that they can have on asking right questions about the audience. I feel personally that if these silos can come together and make some sort of a hybrid team where they can operate together, they can get much, much better results.
Who should facilitate that? What kind of role should these advertisers and agencies too be bringing in that is that bridge between those two completely siloed departments?
I think cross-sharing, learning across teams is something that we are trying with a lot of I work for 3 big clients in CPG category, and we're trying the same thing. Cross-market, cross-team sharing, on the job is something which is very important. I mean, attending workshops and sessions is fine, but I think on the job, getting your hands dirty on platforms like this is really helping these brand managers and also digital marketers to look at things holistically.
I'm interested to know as well, obviously it seems like Wavemaker are making really good progress when it comes to video with your clients. Where is the budget coming from? Is this new budget that the advertisers are creating? Are they taking it from TV?
It is out of TV.
It is out of TV.
Yes.
And are they expecting TV metrics when they are buying programmatic video? Are they, is there a kind of combination where you can look at something GRP, proxy versus CPV?
I think, as mentioned earlier, we can't look at these platforms in the same way. It's not an apple-to-apple comparison. So we have to look at these platforms differently, and ultimately the goal is to get to the business metric. Whether that is upper funnel or the lower funnel, it depends. But if I can get the same objectives achieved by doing programmatic versus TV, I'll rather do that because that's much more efficient.
And I want to bring up creative. We did talk about creative. And Kristen, I know it's something that you're very passionate about. It's one thing having all this data and saying, okay, I know exactly what my consumer's doing and how to target. But then when the performance is really poor, they rarely go to the creative and blame the creative as not having been engaging enough. Is there a problem? We've talked about brands still just bringing their TVC over to kind of video space. Is that still a challenge? And how can they make creative work in the video space?
I think that's the great things of programmatic and data is that for many years, or 15 years ago, we're just broadcasting. It was very lean back media consumption. People were passive. They one copy for millions and millions of people. Then we move over the last even 5 years ago to what let's say we need to target to send the message, the copy to the right people at the right time, which is step forward, but it's still not here. So what we do now, it's the big thing is and our clients are extremely attracted by this. It's what we call DCO, so data or dynamic creative optimization. So here we're not talking about sending one copy A to target A, copy B to target B. We're talking about having in our platform 1,000 of copy possibilities, because except the first 2 seconds of the copy and the back shot of the 5 seconds, in between each seconds it's cut, and depending on the signal we receive from the users, aggregate to all the signal like the weather, like the where is the location, we can literally in real time send a copy which would be unique to that person. So we have great experience with the car maker recently. So, and depending on the signal and we know that the users was more keen about the security, another one was more about the performance, another one was more the comfort of the equipment. So instantly you have that person receive a 30 seconds copy on the car, but the neighbor or his wife or his friend on site can receive exactly completely different copy instantly. And that's one things of the technology can enable. That's an example. Or there are many others. We have a lot of things now, for example, augmented reality. We launched in Cannes last week our first, it is a worldwide first AR advertising with Ray-Ban. So which start with a normal outstream format, but you click on it, then it activates the U video camera, of your mobile phones, and you see yourself on selfie mode. And of course the algorithm put the Ray-Ban on you, but it's not just a fixed plan where you can play with that. No, it's like a 3D with shade effect, reflect effect. It looks like a real one. It's very, very sophisticated X effect. And you see yourself with that model, and you can change the model. You can, if you look up the head up, you can see the glasses move to it. So it's very, very, very impressive. That's kind of what, and this is, of course, possible due to technology, and this is addressable because of programmatic and data.
It's very cool, very, very exciting. Is it scalable though? I want to talk about the scalability of those kinds of formats versus people just pumping money into programmatic video and expecting their ad to appear wherever. And then also, kind of the supply versus demand conversation. In the TV panel earlier, they were talking about the fact that demand is massively outstripping supply. There is no supply left. All the advertisers are looking to buy, and there's nothing there. Are we finding the same problem with video? And how can we implement these types of newer technologies to actually help achieve kind of new great heights in video? Abhishek, what's your perspective from the brand side?
Firstly, I just wanted to add to his comment. It's quite an interesting one when he mentioned about DCO. It's a huge buzzword, mostly for CPG clients. They also want to hop onto it and take on to DCO. The interesting point is that look at brands like L'Oreal. They already have like really good creatives. It's all about like customizing those creatives into right formats.
Yeah.
And then not having so many multiple creatives like a hotel industry or an airline industry would have. CPG would have like typically like limiting to 5 to 7 creatives, not more than that. And I think that's the sweet spot where we need to find in terms of having multiple creatives, because we can have personalized messaging, but we need to think about having personalized messaging at scale, which is to your point, saying that, where is the scale? Can we drive scale through these things? To me, it boils down to the audience targeting. If you're able to define the right audience strategies for different brands, where I know that I have multiple brands within only makeup for L'Oreal, right? So I need to look at like, am I cannibalizing with those brands? Can I like have audience targeting strategies which are like separated out, and then build creatives based on those audience strategies? That's really critical to have, and only then you can build like precision targeting at scale.
Interesting. Sorry, Christian.
Not just about scale, because I heard very often that, you're proposing premium content, but you don't have the, you don't have the same reach, you don't have the scale as a big platform. But this is very wrong, because now we are if you aggregate all this premium, which now are more and more accessible through programmatic, the reach you get is in many markets even higher than YouTube and Facebook. So and it's not necessarily well known in some markets, and even here in Singapore, you add just our friend here from SPH Media Corp, and then you have something which is premium, which is professional, and which is in many cases deliver higher reach than Facebook and YouTube.
It feels to me like, and I'm not talking about data necessarily, but I guess programmatic video more generally, it feels to me like the creative side of things and the programmatic video side of things, everybody is trying to push them together, the two worlds colliding, but they aren't quite ready to collide yet. It feels like there's no real meshing of the creative side and actually the buying mechanism. Sean, what's your take on that?
I think there are limitations. I think, first of all, relevancy. I mean, it's programmatic video the right channel to go into that for that particular campaign of a particular brand. Other aspects of it include like creative limitations, technical limitations, which is why the agencies are here to help. But it will take time for brands to catch up. I think Christian was just mentioning having Ray-Ban glasses and all that. It takes time to do that. That's one issue. The second issue would be, are the phones capable of it? You got how many different iOS, OSs, different browser versions? How many percentage of those audience will we be able to reach with that high impact creative? So it's about finding the right format to reach out to these people, to display that video. So that's my take on it.
And Abhishek, do you think that global clients have got the measure of buying video in the APAC region? Because obviously you've got some more established markets like Malaysia, and you've got kind of the more emerging markets in Southeast Asia and South Asia. When you're talking about sort of brands like L'Oreal, do they understand that and they know what they're doing, and they understand that these are mobile-first regions versus maybe the West where it's still quite desktop dominant?
Absolutely. I think every market has its own nuance. And look at Indonesia. Like they're aware that there are only 11 cities where we can have digital campaigns. If they have products like a shampoo, they have to go out and reach. They have to advertise on TV to reach to the maximum number of consumers. They know the role of a brand. They know the role of a media in a particular market, and then adapt to that accordingly. And it's very essential where they always keep the consumer first and define the relationship with that category or the brand. Now, whatever's happening around that relationship, you can either do it with mobile or desktop or through TV or through radio. That's irrespective. But looking at just the landscape right now, if you look at Indonesia, it's purely mobile. If you look at Thailand, it's purely mobile. But Malaysia, which is a very fragmented market, where it's difficult to actually have PMPs in place. I know that you have a PMP, but it's very difficult to have like PMPs across like Chinese, English, and then Malay. I feel there is a problem there. So there, L'Oreal defines the solution in a different way, and then you have like different channels to reach other consumers.
I think adding on to that, I mean, we know that as a fact. I mean, it's fragmented because we have 3 different languages and all the different interests as well. But I think publishers realize this. It's a golden opportunity to band together and get more other niche publishers involved. I think like right now, some of the campaigns that we're running, for example, one of our publishers on board is The Edge. So they have a highly affluent audience, more likely to be senior management and above. So we're running campaigns targeting the Edge audience, extended across all 9 different publishers, be it whatever language they're reading into. So that's a great example of how we can actually utilize data from niche segments onto a PMP scale. So we're excited to see if we can add on more publishers to expand the scale into different verticals as well. One for automotive, one for sports, one for parenting. List goes on.
I'm very sorry to say that oh dear.
Wow.
Was that you, Sean? Are you smashing up things?
Okay.
Yeah, I think too excited, I guess.
Don't step on it. It's dangerous. He's too excited about programmatic video. It's understandable. Unfortunately, we have run out of time, but I want to say thank you to all of you. And I must say, I've heard the word consumer mentioned quite a lot in this panel, which is very warming to my cold heart, because let me tell you, in other regions, never gets a look in. So it's really good to hear that things are so consumer-centric over here. Absolutely fundamental. But I want to say thank you very much to Christian, Abhishek, and Sean. Give them a round of applause.
Thank you.
Thank you.